Dr. Harvey Max, I think, CBC's interview. He's saying person centered. I usually say patient centered. He hasn't yet mentioned making it illegal to break the Hippocratic Oath instead of just being a general accepted concept. But it also means that they're ill, right? He's not talking about how doctors are ill by being unable to see their patients as whole persons instead of just, pathologies or whatever, diagnosis or whatever. So, what makes unions, let's say like the BCGU or health authorities, hear of me and I mention the word cultural repair? What kind of illness do they have that makes it that they don't want to speak with me further on the concepts I sent? What makes them defensive? And again, there's a lack of maturation there in people that we require to be mature to take care of others because they don't want to go to the guilt feelings. So when I gave this internist that I saw a little bit of feedback at the end, he got and it was very light and it was very gentle, but his defensiveness was intense, and I had to calm him down and bring him back. And I told you in a previous vlog I shook his hand, and he was okay. But I mean, he might still have hated me at that point because I gave him feedback that he should have already had from, let's say, any kind of oversight or evaluation procedure or peers or associations of colleges of surgeons and doctors. They should say, hey, you'll have more job satisfaction if you know how to connect with people, which means take life skills training, because giving and receiving feedback is an example of a life skills lesson that lasts a few hours in a group of about eight people. And these things should be refreshed as part of professional development and personal development training. On a regular basis, I would say every few years, with people that work with people, especially when they hold the lives of people in their hands. So for me, I'm imagining a scenario where suddenly Northern Health, I've tagged them on enough things or mentioned them, and I'm just preparing to do a new longer series on my YouTube channel about my experiences with Northern Health. And what if they finally contact me and I say, okay, well, let's start a series of online conversations where we see each other's faces, some of their higher level people. And then let's say it's going well, it's moving, and then there's two or three. And then I would say, hey, do you guys know how poor I am? Are you aware of that scenario? And they say, oh, yeah. Yeah, that's too bad. I hope you solve that. And they won't realize that I'm working for them for free to help them as a culture repair. And none of them thought about, let's say, giving me a independent contractor income and asking me to work with them to create the structure of a contract where I could really make a difference for everyone working with them. They won't think of that. So after I say that, have you realized that you haven't thought of that? And have you realized that you are feeling better interacting with me, but you're only doing it at 2 or 3%, and that we have so much work to do, and use this feeling. It's feeling good for you. You're thinking you're changing paradigms, but you're not really. But you still use that feeling because we have a lot of work to do, and we can't give up on that work. Otherwise, shame on you. How dare you are in that profession and accept this high salary for being in a role that has so much influence on the health, physical and mental, of so many people. Now I'm going to try to contact this person, okay? But he's won awards, he's famous, he's going to be even more so now that he's on CBC. But my work, which has partly been published, some not published yet, really correlates to what he's doing, and I'd like to be of assistance in some way to him. And in a way, he's being of assistance to me. It's a win-win collaborative scenario. But a lot of people with elite status or popularity, they get into losing sight of win-win scenarios and serving and being served scenarios, like slavery to the person with the higher status. Would he get it if I bring it to his attention? Let's say we interacted and I say, hey, I'm not feeling like your peer, although you've admitted a few times to me that some of what I've delivered to you as my work, although it's a bit more advanced than you, and you would use, or you would stay, oh, okay, you're using different language, but really what you mean is I'm a little bit more advanced than you on the human condition, and how there are common denominators between all broken systems, education, medical, and a variety of other things that relate to, service systems. But everything else really is we have a hard time referencing others. Life skills training would help with that. We have a hard time with human rights. We have a hard time being stuck in our egos, and that includes people that are certain they're not, and all their friends are certain they're not. They are. So we're lacking that self-assessment, that awareness, that metapsychology, which I define as observing our own thoughts and feelings. Would he work with me in creating a scenario that would be included, using his great influence now to make it more likely to happen, where we could impact how training for people in the medical profession is done in Canada, and then the next stage would be for me to carry on this, let's say, in education related industries. Would that person go that far, or would that person be quite happy, Dr. Harvey Max, I think is his name, with what he's working on right now, and how his team is, and he can't take on anybody else or anything else, even though I could create the scenario where you don't have more to do, and what you do with me is not that much, and what it would do is it would actually help you also consolidate things, reducing your workload, because I'm working with more foundational, higher paradigm stuff. Would he be able to see it if I'm poor, if I don't have a big office in a university or a medical institution?